Hurley, Silver Street in 1885. As you can imagine, we kind of rose from nothing here, and rose with our timber industry and our mining industry.
To have a healthy private sector here would mean so much, so much. And we understand that the resource is there. You know, as a younger child in the 70s, that's when they pulled up the tracks between here and Ashland, which is basically where the ore headed. And it went right through my grandfather and grandmother's farm. The tracks are fairly close to the house. And I remember as a young boy when those trains would go by, it was disruptive, right? Noisy, disruptive. My grandparents had a farm. I remember they had a couple dogs that were killed through the years on the railroad tracks.
Really?
And I remember someone had made a comment, and I was there, to my grandfather, "Oh, you must be so happy. These tracks are coming out, no more trains. You must be so happy." And my grandfather didn't see it that way at all.
Right.
He said, "No." He said, "When the trains are running, when we're working, and this is not a good thing for our area." And it turns out that he was really right. The general feel, I think, is consensus that has been built is everyone, when I say everyone, the majority of folks that I talk to certainly would like to see us return to the industry. Most folks in this area understand the impact because they, like myself, have probably had family members that were involved in the industry. They kind of long for the days of an opportunity to have real good employment, living in an area that really doesn't offer much in high wage paying jobs. I think our base here now is we still do a tremendous amount of logging in the private sector, but you'll find that we've got a very high employment base in the public sector. Historically, we've moved about 300 million tons of ore. It's interesting, to bring the debate full circle. The debate now is about a new mine, a different style of mining, an open pit mine, which we really didn't experience much at all in Iron County. But how they talk about how productive it is and how advanced it is. When the real fact is, if we produce 300 million tons, this new mine would have to operate at capacity. The capacity that's been talked about is 8 million tons a year. It will have to operate over 30 years to catch up to what's already been dug in these mines. Binns Brothers Well Drilling has been in business. Pretty much, I would consider them the premier well driller for the last 50 years. And down there, he testified that he figures he's drilled at least 1,000 wells in this infected area of mining. And it really hasn't had zero come back with an issue relative to minerals due to mining. The fact is, and I think this is why when you're on this side of Iron County, you hear a lot of folks that just don't understand why there's any debate. It's because they've lived the industry, they've lived mining. They see what's been done with the area and the effects on the water. And again, they've really not seen any negative effect. Therefore, they wonder, well, what's all the fuss? Back then, of course, there was virtually no regulation. These guys basically did what they wanted,
right.
And were still described as pristine. And a lot of folks, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but a lot of folks out there now are so concerned that we're going to disturb this pristine environment. And for the folks that have been here a long time, they just kind of wonder what really is the issue, because if it's not, if it's still pristine after what we've already done, with today's regulations, how could it be no different? I think the sides are closer than it seems, but at the same time, there seems to be some issues that guys are standing pretty hard on, and I don't know if we can overcome those obstacles. And without overcoming those obstacles, if there's no bill, well, then there's really no proceeds to talk about, there's no new jobs to talk about, there's no potential additional industries, there's no opportunity in this industry. And I think that would be unfortunate. It's amazing the amount of distance and travel that folks are doing just to try to get by. And I really think that to bring back this industry would be such a game changer. Folks would really have opportunity again, and feel good about themselves, because one thing is, everybody really up here, we try to be self-reliant, we try to be self-sufficient, and we've got a bunch of folks that really would just love to have the dignity of having a good job, maybe only having to work one job, and provide for their families. I mean, our population continues to decline. Our greatest export, we export a lot of lumber, we export a lot of stuff, but our greatest export is our youth. When we go to these high school graduations and you go to the parties, as an older person, you realize that the majority of the kids, if they're off to college, won't be back. And that's something that we live with. And it affects our families. It would be nice, it would certainly be nice to have someone have the opportunity to stay if they wish. I mean, when you live in the north, this isn't for everyone.
Right.
We get 200 inches a year of snow. That's not for everyone. But the fact is, it would sure be nice to at least have the choice. A lot of folks around here have been waiting 50 years for someone to come to town, seriously wanting to go after that old body. But with that being said, it gave us the opportunity to kind of think again what this really would be like. What would it be like if we had an opportunity to get back in this industry? And now we see this opportunity kind of before us, and the lawmakers will continue to gather in Madison and make decisions, whether this goes through or whether it doesn't go through. The folks with the mining company are in the mining industry, and there's certainly opportunity somewhere else. But if this opportunity slips through our hands, it's we who really have the most to lose.
Right.
And for those that are purists in the environmental sense, I really believe that they would believe that would be a win for them. But I don't understand how it would be a win for the region. Right now local folks are a bit frustrated because we really do want to see a bill, and it's not because we are thinking that, oh no, we don't care about the environment. I want the rest of the state to understand that. We do care deeply about the environment, but because of historically what we've been through, and with the confidence of the regulation and procedures that are available to us now, there shouldn't be any reason why we shouldn't be able to operate clean. They've got a fine relationship in the area based on, their accessibility. You can go in and you can talk to them. I've talked to them several times, what their plans are, what they're thinking about doing. They've been rather innovative. One of the things that they did, there was concerns about the water tables out there. So they went over to Ironwood to see if they could, because Ironwood has very high capacity wells. Ironwood used to be a lot larger than it is today.
Okay.
So there's a lot of extra water available. And so they just struck an agreement in principle that would allow those GTEC and this mine to buy water from Ironwood. And I think it shows that they are also sensitive to the issues, and that there are actually solutions out there that folks may not have thought about. To that end, I'm not exactly sure that the legislature's done its due diligence in being really students of the industry. But at the same time, when laws are written, it's not engraved in stone. There will be opportunity for modifications to the law. And that, from what I've learned about Minnesota, happens all the time. There's all kinds of issues that come up that have to be dealt with, and their legislators do that.